guys, I'm JJ, aka JJ Never Sleeps. I was a senior product manager at LinkedIn. I'm joining Meta as a product manager working on video ads on Facebook. Before I worked at LinkedIn as a senior product manager, I work on premium analytics. So if you have heard about products like Who Be My Profile, search appearance, profile analytics, those used to be my products. Because I went through the LinkedIn APM program, so I work in a lot of teams at LinkedIn. I also work on user growth. That was my first team working on user acquisition, top of funnel. And second team, I work on LinkedIn ads and specifically working on identity, basically how to identify that user when we are looking to send the ads on, let's say, CNN.com or New York Times on third parties. I also used to work on go-to-market at Tesla, in Tesla China. And also, for all of you guys who know Elon Musk as a person, Elon doesn't believe in marketing. So, meaning that we are marketers driving lead generation without any budget. So, that's what he means by not liking marketing. For my first job, I was a former AI founder, and 2016 was the year that short video and live streaming platform just started in China. And our team was the first team to leverage computer vision algorithm for content moderation. And we pivoted the product for like twice for the product market fit, and eventually got acquired by a major short video company in China. And please, I think it's here. Yes, follow me on YouTube, TikTok, Rednote, WeChat, and Bilibili at JJ Never Sleeps. I started my job search from last year around this time. It was like 3 years at LinkedIn, and I was just generally looking. I was very curious about AI startups, so I applied for Google, Meta, like the two tech companies that I think have a pretty good position in AI. And OpenAI, Waymo, TikTok reached out to me, DoorDash reached out to me, Coinbase reached out to me, Uber reached out to me, Scale AI reached out to me, Snap reached out to me. Gen is an AI startup, reached out to me. I applied for Speak. I applied for Perplexity. Applied for Perplexity, but back then Perplexity didn't have the job. I will talk about that later. The same situation for Sierra. Applause Clip reached out to me. That was how I started my job search. I was just like generally looking. My job at LinkedIn is great. I was very happy at LinkedIn, but I was just generally curious. So I applied for these companies and I reach out to some of the startups I'm interested in. And for startups, usually that was a very early stage for most of the startups that are listed here. So they don't really have a product manager position. So you're not looking at a product manager position and then apply for it from LinkedIn or whatever platform. It is usually how it happened is you have a connection with the executives at that company, and you directly reach out to those people to create a role for you. So that happened to me for Perplexity, Sierra. I probably reach out to more AI startups because in total I applied for like 30-ish companies. But here I'm just listing down the companies that I think most of you guys may be interested in. So I started apply for like Meta and Google and OpenAI. And the application process is basically like you started by a referral. And then Meta was the fastest recruitment process I've ever seen. So they just basically have new rounds every week. So I was able to finish the whole interview before 2025. And I have a verbal offer by the end of 2024. And starting from 2025, I started Team Match for Meta. So Meta product managers are general hire, so you don't know which team you will be working for when you were interviewing. So I did Team Match from January and got my first offer from Meta in late February, I remember. But then I wasn't ready. So like I didn't realize that I wasn't ready mentally to leave LinkedIn at that time. And so Meta gave me an offer in late February or March, I forgot. And also I wasn't exactly happy with the position. And also I wasn't mentally ready to leave LinkedIn. And also my engineer manager was leaving at that time, was switching to another team internally at LinkedIn at that time. So I have this gap of no engineer manager will help me with the work. So I rejected the Meta offer and stay at LinkedIn for another half a year. After August or July this year, that I got promoted at LinkedIn, I was just like applying again to a bunch of companies. And then Meta Recruiter was like, by the way, you can still go back to team match and your offer hasn't expired yet. So that's how I continue to do the team match and match with my current team, which is video as AI team. And I do like the position and I just accept that offer in, I think, October. And I'm leaving LinkedIn in October. So that is the whole story in a summary.
So I just had a quick question on your journey that you mentioned initially, right? That before applying for Meta, you applied to a lot of other companies in the space of AI as well before you landed there. So as someone who has recently gone through this experience in the market, like, do you recommend this sort of approach where you, before you want to apply to the role that you want to go into, you want to like see how the market is by applying to a lot of other companies and focus on a volume, or do you make it very specific that, if I want to land up in Meta, like I do informational interviews with a lot of people in Meta, and then I focus mostly on Meta and not on the other companies. Like, what sort of approach worked for you, and why did you choose the approach of like applying to a lot of startups and other companies in that space? Like, did you think about it like that, or was it something that came naturally to you?
Mm, that's a good question. Normally, I don't apply for a lot of companies. Back in the days, 5 years ago, when I was applying for APM programs in the United States, I only applied for 9 companies in the US and then applied for 3 companies in China. And then I got 5 offers in total, I think. Yeah, so I wasn't the type of person that I want to apply for a lot of companies because I think that is a huge distraction. But the thing with AI startup today is they are pretty much the same among different companies within the same vertical. And I do think that for startups, so I just like talk about how to reach out to startups. So for early stage startups, they do not have a position out there, so you need to create a position yourself by talking with their executives. That means that even when you have a connection, you have a deep connection with someone from the executive team, it still takes you a lot of time to persuade them. Basically you need to outreach them on LinkedIn or whatever way, right? And they might not use LinkedIn all the time, so they might not see your message, or maybe hiring people for that startup is not their top of mind, so they're not replying to you. I had this experience back then last year when I was reaching out to an AI startup, and that person used to be the VP of product at LinkedIn, and we had a pretty good relationship, and he didn't reply to me. And then I think last week, my friend told me that he left that startup. So I feel like that makes sense. Like you don't want to hire more people for the startup. So there
Yeah.
are all types of situation in the startup world. So your conversion rate is pretty low. And back then, I pretty much so. Do you guys know that there is a maximum number of connections that you can send out on LinkedIn every week? Uh,
Yeah.
I pretty much use that up every week to reach out to people from startups. So that is the my approach on startup.
Okay.
Because
Understood.
at that time I was very curious about startup, and I was curious how they work. And for big tech, there is a different strategy. For big tech, you basically just find that one person referring you and knowing the process and just practice the interviews and get
Hmm.
past the interview. So the approach will be different.
But your ultimate goal was to get into big tech, right? Not a startup, or like.
So at that time, I was thinking about startup.
Okay.
So
Got it. Okay.
and
Okay.
but I will later talk about why I switched to big tech eventually. Uh,
Right. I understood.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, JJ. Yeah.
No problem. First, I will talk about why do I choose Meta as a big tech later. So I was interviewing all these companies. Why do I say that Meta has a very faster recruitment process? Because Meta is not only faster than Google, it is way faster than most of the AI startups out there. I think, well, it depends. Like Perplexity is pretty fast too. Sierra is not bad. Sierra is about the same speed with Meta, but Google is so slow, guys. I don't know, like I have huge admirations for people who get offered from Google and eventually join Google, but Google is so freaking slow. So I applied for Meta and Google at the same time, and by the time I already have verbal offer from Meta, I my resume was still like in between teams at Google. So I met several hiring managers, but there wasn't a match. So that is the like general process difference between Meta and Google, which is Google do the team match basically first and then go through interviews, while Meta do general hire and then team match. So I think that's probably why Google is slower. And also for people who are interested in Google, I didn't know about this when I back then first applied, but I don't want you guys to make the same mistake. Google career website only have Google positions. DeepMind positions are not there. And for all of y'all may not know this information, like me last year, yes, please, you can apply for multiple positions from DeepMind and Google. I believe Google is 3 positions per month using the same referral. I think DeepMind, I don't know the maximum position that you can apply for, but basically you can apply for both channels at the same time. The same thing apply for Waymo. So although they belong to the same Alphabet company, but their interview process are totally parallel. So Google doesn't really care or know that you interview DeepMind or Waymo. When I was interviewing Sierra, those people who don't know about this company, let me type this company in the in the chat. So this company is a AI customer service company. They're doing an AI customer service agent. And the reason why this company is so important is that their co-founder, who is Brad Taylor is the board member for OpenAI. He was the co-CEO for Salesforce, and he was the CTO at Facebook. He is pretty much a legend in Silicon Valley. So that's why this startup just bumped into me strongly. And I reached out to all the people there. So like that is also my strategy. I saw a superstar startup, and usually I was targeting back then Series B-ish startup. And for Series B startup or earlier, they have pretty much less than or around 100 people. And because LinkedIn have this conversion rate, right? So not all the people will reply to your message. So I basically connect with all of them. And that's how I approach to startup. And for all the product managers at Sierra, one person replied to me and referred me to Sierra and created a role for me. Sierra is the only company in the past 1 year of my interview that have a system design technical interview. Complete a whole book talking about system design. So I did came from a computer science background, but so this is the thing about system design. I don't know how many of you guys are software engineers, but like even software engineers are not that confident about system designs. And I've never done system design interviews, so I spent a week to read the system design interview book. And that is when I realized 2 things. One thing is ChatGPT is so helpful when it comes to learning new knowledge. And if you are confused about what is written in the book, just ask ChatGPT. I always have ChatGPT next to me and answering all of my questions. And that is such an efficient way of learning new things. And second thing is, I was having a bet back then because I feel like, okay, so they're interviewing product managers, right? And they are interviewing product manager system design. So it shouldn't be as hard as software engineers. And on the other side, this is an AI startup. So AI startup style is not like big companies that they want you to be like very hardcore good at that skill set, right? Startups are usually having this mindset of I want you to have hands-on experience or hands-on skill set to work on this specific product. So I was betting that they will exactly ask me the system design for the product like Sierra. Um, so I was practicing system design and I was practicing how to do system design for an AI customer service product like Sierra. And that was the time, my second realization was that there wasn't tech moat for all of these agent companies. That was like my aha moment that I was like, if I understand the system design from your side, why don't I build a product myself? Why should I join your startup? So after that realization, I realized, okay, so that kind of changed my approach interviewing startup, right? Because all of these startups do not have moat. All of these AI application startups are basically the same. So I shouldn't be even like concerned about what if Sierra rejected me. If Sierra rejected me, it's totally fine. I can just grab whatever I learned from Sierra to interview its competitors because just there are so many out there. And especially for B2B SaaS company, They don't have tech mode, so all of their products are pretty much the same. They just have different customers. So I use the same strategy to interview, let's say, AI in customer service, AI in marketing, AI in sales, and the strategy works so well. Like all the other competitors thought I was such a native, you know. So that's a good strategy. And also, they don't like that's my realization of they don't have mode. I saw a pre-session question from I think Sid asking about what is the new skill set required in this AI native world. I do want to share my interview experience with Perplexity. So what happened was one of the executive at Perplexity work on. So this is such a interesting story, guys. After knowing this story, you guys will think I'm crazy. Um, so one of the executives at Perplexity worked on the same product at LinkedIn 10 years ago with the product like that I'm working on. So back then, I reached out to this person not because I want to apply for Perplexity, because I realized that one of the features I want to launch on Who Be My Profile, he actually launched it 10 years ago, but I don't know why I cannot find it on LinkedIn. So that's like the primary reason why I reach out. And he must find me crazy because how the hell does a product manager do research and reach out to the product manager 10 years ago for a simple feature? So he probably think I'm crazy, and he was like, by the way, are you interested in Perplexity? So that was how I reached out to the company. And then while I was interviewing them, I wasn't happy with how they interviewed me because they have this like writing SQL um, in their PM interview. And at the end of the interview, I literally just told them that I don't think this skill set is required anymore. And I told them that LinkedIn currently do not even have data scientists. We have AI data scientists. We have a SQL bot to write all the SQL for product managers. And I can use ChatGPT in this interview as well and give you a perfect SQL. And I just think that it is a waste of time for both of us. So I told him, like at the end of the interview, that was like the on-site interview for Prosody. I already went through this chief business officer, chief product officer, the VP of growth, and then this is the interview with the data science manager. Um, and of course, they don't like my attitude, but but I have a friend interviewing Perplexity, I think this week or next week, and she told me that she doesn't have SQL interview anymore. So I think maybe they heard my feedback. So yeah, so I do think that there are a lot of skill sets that are not required in the AI native world, and there are new skill sets that you probably want to learn. For example, like you probably heard about this from all the other people talking about AI industry, prompt engineering, model training, agent system design, vibe coding. This type of skill set is new in the AI native world. As far as I know, only LinkedIn Associate Product Builder program has vibe coding interviews, and they are basically doing a product design with you and vibe code the MVP. I've never heard any other companies requiring the candidates to do vibe coding live. So that's my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if you have actually have a vibe coding interview with some of the companies. Who knows? The companies these days are crazy. Yeah, Sid.
Hey JJ, JJ. So whenever you interviewed with startups like Sierra and and the other companies, they also didn't have any AI specific rounds, like not only vibe coding, but talking about some AI infrastructure or agents, and those sort of skill sets right now.
Only Sierra has a system design round with me to design an AI agent, a customer service agent
Oh, got it. And LinkedIn, you said, is the other one that has added like
as
an
a
on.
vibe coding round. Yes.
Okay, got it. And is it like basic vibe coding? Can you share like what sort of skill sets are they looking for? At least at LinkedIn.
I don't exactly know because I just heard about this because I have a huge community from my channel, and some of them interview LinkedIn APP program and told me about this. But what I could tell you is I think they're looking for the following skill set. First is if you can tell the vibe coding tool, let's say Cursor, what feature do you want, right? And Cursor can give you the product as fast as possible.
Right.
then that means that your ability of drafting a PRD is pretty good.
Got it. So, yeah, drafting that PRD and the requirements as an input to that vibe coding tool
Yes,
is the skill.
because the vibe coding tool is basically your engineer, right?
Mm.
So you want to talk in the engineer's language. So that's the first skill. The second one is when you design the MVP, you also need to design the user flow and the UX. So that is also the skill set that they're looking for. The third one is if you have a bug in your vibe coding tool, how do you debug it? I think these are the major three things they are looking for on top of product design skill set.
Got it, JJ. That answers. Thank you.
Yes, there is a long list of startups I applied, guys. I saw that question in the chat. But AI startups, the survival rate from AI startups is so low these days. I don't even know. We have 30 people in this Zoom chat. I don't know if I list down all the AI startups out there, whether I am doing a free ask for them, it is benefiting them more or benefiting me more, right? So I'm not listing down all the AI startups out there because as far as I know, some of them are already dying. So that's the reason why I didn't list down all the 30 30 companies that I applied. So after I realized that AI startups do not have moat, and the fact that I can build one myself, I also have this realization of I don't know about your experience interviewing AI startup today. I think AI startups are way more realistic today than the time that I was interviewing them. Because back in the days, there is a huge vibe I got from them. You know, that that vibe is like we are AI startup, we are the hottest people in the world, and you are so privileged even to talk with us kind of vibe. And and I have a lot of interviews that I went to the interview with the CEO. So there are several kinds of CEOs. Okay, there are like superstar CEOs like Brad Taylor that we just talked about. Then I don't even have the privilege of interviewing him. Okay, even I go through the whole interview process, I don't even need to interview the CEO of Sierra because they're a board member for OpenAI. They're pretty busy. But for some of the smaller companies, I got to interview the CEO. And for some of the CEOs, there are two types of CEOs. One type of CEO is like, I just got $30 million in my round raising, and I think I'm the most amazing person in the world. So you should be very privileged to even talk with me. Right? That is one kind of CEO. The other kind of AI startup CEO is like, he's not sure about he can find the product market fit for his product. And during that talk, I can even see his confusion from his eyes. So I'm asking all of you guys, like if you were me, I don't think you can sign the offer that happily with either of the CEOs. So that was my experience interviewing a startup. So I was thinking, at LinkedIn, I was working for a product leader that I so admire. During the past 4 years at LinkedIn, I pretty much followed the same VP of product. I mean, when she was my manager, she was a director, and now she is a VP. And I admire him not only because she is a great product leader. I follow her because she made me realize that a woman at work can do her job like a beast and be a great mom and a great wife and great everything. Right? So I admire her as a person, and she respect me no matter which level I'm on, what product I'm working, right? That is the type of leader I want to work for. And I was asking myself, do I really want to work hard for these people? And the answer is no. So that's why I rejected all the AI startups and went to build my own startup. So I was building my own startup from March to July. And I was also talking with a bunch of VCs to see whether I can get money for myself, and then quit LinkedIn probably because of this. And at that time, I also interviewed an engineer manager for my LinkedIn team. So I'm good to leave the team basically. I was talking with the VCs in the US and China. For those people who are like Chinese in this Zoom chat, in this Zoom meeting, first of all, I don't know whether you guys heard about it, but most of the startup either they use VCs in China's money or the VCs in the US, their money. They do not have a mix. Most of them do not want to have a mix because of geopolitics. And I realized talking with the VCs from China is such a learning for me. Guys, like back in the days, 5 years ago, when I was interviewing companies in China and the United States, I also feel like this. Like, I don't know for like people from other countries in this Zoom chat, Zoom meeting, whether you guys share the same experience, which is I feel like the interviewers in the United States and the VCs in the United States sometimes are like too polite. They do not give you real feedback. Okay, maybe it's just me being a stereotypical toxic Asian, so we talk all the negative feedback to candidates. Okay, but that is such a learning process for me to interview like interviewers in China and also VCs in China. So a lot of them give me real feedback that I know that okay, this is how VCs think about, and this is how VCs think about this domain, and they just do not think that they will invest in any startup in this domain. Like they will literally tell me that feedback, but I didn't get any of those feedback in the American VCs. Specifically American VCs care a lot about whether you are doing this full time right now. And I don't know whether they care about this so much. Like I think they have 100 reasons to care about this, but I also feel like they sometimes use this reason to as an excuse, and they're just not interested in your product. And I don't appreciate that because if you're not interested in my product, just tell me you're not interested in my product. I can take it, right? Don't waste my time. So yeah, that is the differences between the VCs in the United States and maybe rest of the world. The VCs know that AI startup, like back in the days when I was talking with VCs, I think that is such a like division of VCs perspective. I think earlier in 2025, VCs and especially American VCs still think that AI agent is such a thing. AI agent is such a wave. They're investing in whatever agent you're building. They do not care whether you guys are building the same product. But I was reaching out to VCs from the late May to June to July, and I feel like their perspective already changed. They know that AI startup and agents do not have moat. And they also realized from the AI application startup that they invested in from 2022 to earlier 2025, those startups didn't give them the good ROI they were expecting. So they were becoming more and more cautious in investing in these startups. Funny enough, I had a talk with another like startup founder last month talking about this, and he has a saying that I think is so accurate. He was like, I think the VC's perspective in 2025 and the VC's opinions in startups and what works or not change by months. Like every month they have a different opinion. So that's my feeling when I was building my startup and reaching out to VCs. So I do think that if a lot of you guys are interviewing in the United States or are looking for funding in the United States, I do recommend you to also talk with people outside of the United States so you can get a lot of great feedback from great people out there. After I built my startup, I gave up on my startup because one of the Chinese VC persuaded me to stop working on that idea. Um, I came back to job search, and then I want to answer the question, why did I choose Meta over other offers? I think the biggest reason here, which is also the reason that I didn't realize when I was looking for like generally applying for AI startups and big tech back then. I think if, let's say, guys, with all my love and all my respect, the AI startups today do not have moat. All the software companies are barely surviving too, right? So I'm always thinking about this. Like for all the software companies today in this world, right? Either you have great data, or you have social effect, right? Or you have great model. Model is becoming commodity, but maybe you still have a great model. Or you have this advantage, maybe you are B2B SaaS, right? So you have this client network. Or you build up your knowledge that is so niche that the rest of the world do not know. That also works. But either way, right? That is like big company shit. That is the legacy that big companies have. But regardless of that, if you're building a startup yourself, then software industry is pretty dead. And, and I do say this, and I mean that software industry will keep laying off people. That is for sure. I believe in this because I think that like in the past decades, software industry is an industry that got so much capital and they have so much money and they attract the best talent in this world to work in this industry, right? That's why all of the people are so interested about how to be a software engineer at Google, how to be a product manager at Meta, right? They look for information like this online, and people like me, right, and a bunch of software engineers are sharing learnings online. And all of our learnings, including this recording that I'm going to post on YouTube, are the content that are going to be used to train AI, right? And that's why AI is so good at software industry positions job, right? So I think this is the trend, right? Every few century or decades, there were hot industries and there were new industries coming out. So I do think that software industry doesn't need that many people. And with the help of AI and less people can do more people job right now, I think there will be consistent layoffs. So I was also thinking, right, do I really want to work in the software industry? And I have always been having this thought of working on something that is doing good to the climate and doing good to the environment. And that was also why I used to work for Tesla. And during the past 4 years when I work at LinkedIn, I do like my job because I love the people there. But I also know that my passion for LinkedIn as a product is not as much as my passion for Tesla back then. So I do want to work on a product that I really feel passionate about. And that's why I have to leave LinkedIn because LinkedIn doesn't have hardware. And I'm looking to switch an opportunity to switch to physical AI. I will use another example for all of you guys to give you guys an example of how bad this economy is. Last year, I was interviewing Waymo, right? I like Tesla. I like Waymo too. And I went through their hiring manager interview, and the hiring manager was like, "I really like you." And but I'm just letting you know there is another candidate that is already accepting offer for this position. So I'm just letting you know, you interview, you apply late. But if you are interested in any of our future positions, please just feel free to reach out. The recruiter is there. I am there. I am here. So like we will be glad to like interview you again. That was the situation last year. And from half of like later 2025, after I stopped working on my startup, I started to stalk Waymo's new positions. And God knows how many times I emailed the freaking recruiter and different hiring managers for different positions. And every single time they ask me whether I have robotics background. Guys, that's how competitive this economy is, this job market is. And they're not even looking for you switching verticals and doing something that you haven't done before. And 5 years ago, it wasn't like this, right? I used to work on LinkedIn growth team, and we hire people who work on at Amazon working on robotics. And he is great. He is leading the premium business today, right? We also hire people who work on B2B SaaS startup, and that person is working on user acquisition at LinkedIn right now. And he is driving all the daily active users and leading that business. That was 5 years ago. We are fine with you switching verticals as long as you are a great person. But I feel like now the companies are more stricter on this. So just a heads up. So I think Meta can give me a good platform for me to learn about this. So I will like definitely reach out to a bunch of people at Meta to learn whatever I want to learn about and see whether that is a good direction to go. And I also like my current position because video as AI is basically learning about video relevancy. And I think that is an area that I didn't work on. I had an opportunity back then when I first graduated, when I just graduated from Duke, I have an offer from TikTok working on video relevancy, but I didn't take it because it was in China. But I would really want to learn about it. So that's why I accepted my offer from Meta. And next question, how did I prepare for interviews? So with that being said, the Sierra interview has a system design uh, route, right? For most of the other companies, no matter they're startups or big companies, there are typical product manager questions. So basically, product design, product execution, behavioral questions, um, that's pretty much it. And I previously talked in our WhatsApp group that I could like talk in hours to talk about how to crack product design interviews and everything. Um, I have a video on YouTube to talk about this, so please check it out. But I do think that practice makes perfect. Guys, practice makes perfect. Before my first interview with a real company 5 years ago, I've already done 500 mock interviews. And before my this round of job search, my interview with Meta, because I'm a content creator, and with all the love for content creators, I'm creating not the same content as the rest of the world. Okay, I'm creating very boring content, which is just mock interviews. And so I keep doing mock interviews every week with people from my community where people reaching out on LinkedIn and make it live to audience like you guys. And like audience can give feedback to that person and everything. I timed that interviewee during that 30 minutes. I timed myself too, right? Because every single question I give to that interviewee, I'm doing that mock interview too, so that at the end of the interview, I can give great feedback, not only about interview feedback, about whether that person should use this structure or not, whether this person should like say these words like in this way, which is more clear or not, right? I give ideas. I give product ideas as my feedback. So it is a brainstorm between us. I do this for the past 5 years, so I've done 2,000 mock interviews before my Meta interview this time. And Meta was the first company that I was interviewing in this past year. And I got the offer without any hesitation. I thought it was easy, but a lot of my colleagues at LinkedIn didn't get the offer, not because of they're not good, because they didn't practice. I do think that interview skill set is something that you have to practice all the time. So practice makes perfect, guys. Please practice more, more, more. And also, by the way, make an ask for myself. I'm a content creator. I make boring content. I just do mock interviews. So if you're looking for a mock interview partner and you want feedback from like 30-ish people, then please ping me anytime. I'm not very responsive in personal messages, but I'm very responsive if you want to do a mock interview with me. So a little ask inserted there. And also, I saw a question about what if you don't have big tech experience before? How do you crack the big tech interviews? I think the problem is not you cracking the interviews because as long as you practice a lot, the interviews are just like exams, right? Because the big tech companies are very standardized, have very standardized process. I think if you don't have big tech background, the problem is you going through the resume round, right? And in that way, I have a great suggestion, which is entrepreneurship matters more these days. So because of vibe coding and because of everything, you could build a product yourself and have decent revenue or have decent user base. So do that. And my first job is not a big tech either, right? My first job is my own startup. And I struggle to find product market fit. I struggle to monetize from that product, although that product was used in the industry, but I struggle with a lot of business stuff as well. And I used that experience for my first product manager internship, which is not even on my resume because that company isn't anywhere close to the most exciting companies. Let's just put it that way, right? And and then I work for Tesla. Tesla is my turning point because Tesla. I think this is my personal take is that if you want to know how big company works, probably like you won't learn about that from big companies because big companies have too much bureaucracy or like hierarchy for you to understand it from like maybe a month when you work there. I think the fastest way to know how corporation work is to work in mid-sized companies. And back in the days when I worked for Tesla, Tesla is a mid-sized company with only 100 to 200 people in the China office. And at that time, I have a manager who is the head of digital marketing. And then he was reporting to the VP of Tesla, and the VP of Tesla was reporting to Elon. So that was a very flat organization, and you kind of like can tell what different people have in mind uh, with their different levels. So that is how I understand how to like. There is a word popular more these days called manage up. I don't really like the word. I think the so-called manage up is just what different people are thinking, what they care about, and just to sell your same idea with different wording. That's my understanding. So I do think that teach me a lot at Tesla. And then I started my first internship at Tencent, which is a big company. So I also went through a long way from my entrepreneurship, but still, my entrepreneurship taught me so much. So I do encourage all of you guys, if you don't have big tech experience, just build a product yourself. I think I tackle most of the very general questions, and now I'm going to share my screen and talk about two questions that I have a lot of notes for. So I shared this document before our live to gather all of your questions. And there is a question that I saw: does having a LinkedIn profile help? And how to build your LinkedIn profile and have like more attraction towards like recruiters and other people that matter to you. Guys, I love this question. This was my old job at LinkedIn. You probably heard that I work on analytics and specifically profile analytics, so I know what kind of profiles attract the most of people. Okay, these are all the points that you could do to improve your profile and make your profile more popular. I don't want to brag about this, guys, but I do have more than 8,000 profile views in the past 90 days. So all of these work. The first one is get verified. Definitely have a professional headshot. I think most of you guys have more than one experience and one education. I check the LinkedIn profiles when you send it on WhatsApp. I think that's great. The second one is get details in your work experience. You have to have an SEO mindset when you do this. So, for example, if I'm saying like I work on LinkedIn user acquisition, right? I could use the word user acquisition, or I can just simply use the word growth product manager, right? Because growth product manager might have more recruiters search about it than user acquisition. So have an SEO mindset when you put the details in. The headline is crucial. A lot of people, I don't know how many students are there in this room. I saw a lot of you guys talking in the WhatsApp group. Do not put whatever student, like some of the times, guys. First of all, when you connect with someone, like have you seen the like how the connection work? Like when you connect with someone, I can't see your full headline. So these are the three bad examples. They have very short headlines. But let's say about this person, right? I can't see your full headline. And for a lot of you guys, if you put like master student at whatever school at USC, it's pretty much the whole line. And I don't know your previous internship and your background and everything. And student is a very bad headline for recruiters because they basically just know that you are graduating and you're looking for a job, but they don't know that which vertical or which domain you previously work on. So they cannot like really target you when they saw your profile somewhere else. So headline is crucial, and you probably want to think it through. What are the first few words you want to put in your headline? And connect with your target audience. Before I started my job search, I didn't have any people working in AI startup. Well, my husband working at OpenAI, but like beside him, I don't have any friends working at AI startups. So that's why I connect with hundreds of people every week just to get that target audience. Because at the time that maybe I connect with let's say the chief product officer at Sierra, right? Then that person already saw me having 10 mutual connection with that person. So she might think that I'm in their circle, right? So connect with your target audience can increase the possibility of people accepting your invitation. And also on the recruiter side, there is literally a filter called first degree connection with your target company. So if this recruiter is from OpenAI and this recruiter realized that you don't have any people connection from OpenAI on your LinkedIn, that is such a pass. And the skills are very underrated. So I didn't know about this before I work on this job, that you need to treat skills seriously. So the recruiters do search by skills, um, which I still find surprising too, because I can add whatever skills on my profile. But yes, the recruiters use skills as a criteria to reach out to candidate. Open to work, that's easy. Update your profile. Update profile, this is a lot of people don't know about this. So update profile is a signal that we share with recruiters. I think LinkedIn does that because the more often you update your profile or more recent you update your profile, the more likely you are gonna look for a job recently. So I think that's why they share the signal with the recruiter. And share your resume with recruiters. I think there is a entry point after you apply, like within the user journey of you applying for a job. There is a toggle asking you whether you want to share your resume with recruiters. Do that. Interact with the company's content. I found this very funny because if you want to work for Anthropic, you just like give like to every single content from Anthropic company page. Which I think for students, you guys can do whatever you want, but for experience hire, like there isn't a more obvious thing for my manager to see that JJ wants to work on Anthropic. So I found that pretty funny, but that is a signal that we share with recruiters. Select I'm interested in future roles of this company. I think there is a button, I'm interested on company page. So click that. Definitely creating more content give you more attraction. I strongly suggest if you're a student, you don't even have a current employer, just share your resume on feed. Okay, that is the best way for you to get outreach. And you guys have nothing to lose. And connect with your profile viewer whom you're interested in. I always do that. So here's the thing, guys. Let's go back to my old product. For whom my profile, if like this is my whom my profile, let's say I'm interested in this person, right? And I connect with this person. The acceptance rate of that person accepting my invitation, if I send out that invitation from this page, the acceptance rate is the highest across LinkedIn. Why? Because that person have impression about me and that person has a feeling of she got caught. Okay? So the acceptance rate here, when you send out the invitation here, is the highest across LinkedIn. So do that. Just stalk people who viewed your profile and catch them. The last one is outreach through connection. Yeah, that is basically the same thing with the first degree. And after all of that, I want to talk about another concept called average tenure. There's this data called average tenure. So basically, based on all the people, all the employees on LinkedIn, there is an average tenure saying like, what is the average time spent from the employees at this company? If you pass that average tenure, or about the time that you're passing the average tenure, there will be more recruiters reaching out. Vaguely remember LinkedIn's average tenure 3.5 years. And at 3.5 years mark, there's so many recruiters reach out. So I put all of these companies here, TikTok, DoorDash, Coinbase, Uber, Scale AI, Snap, Gen, all of these companies reach out to me. I didn't reach out to them. And I have even more companies reaching out to me, and I just didn't have the time to interview all of them. So that works a lot. And I didn't have that many outreach before reaching the average tenure. So this is a very informative thing I want to share. The second thing that I want to share is how did I learn about AI, eventually build an AI startup myself with vibe coding. So there are a bunch of stuff that are very helpful. There are two classes that I strongly recommend. I think for a lot of people might talk about Andrew Ng's Coursera class. I think the deep learning class is extremely technical, and if you don't want to start from that, totally understandable. I think Andre Karpathy's YouTube videos are very underrated, and I think that is more than enough if you are interviewing for product managers for AI startups or like AI big tech companies. So definitely check that out. His videos are like boring as fuck, like my videos. Okay, like his videos are like 2-3 hours YouTube videos. But the only difference is he actually have a lot of people view his videos. So check them out, and they are very high quality content. And after that, you probably want to check out Andrew Ng's generative AI video on Coursera. That one is more up to up to date, that is more to the topic of what is happening today. And then if you are curious about the more technical side of deep learning, you can check out his course about deep learning. So that would be my suggestion on the order. And after that, these links are the links that you learn about architecture and the system design for machine learning. I strongly, strongly, strongly suggest all of you guys just to get your hands dirty and train models yourself. When you heard the word train models, you will find it extremely technical. But no, I love all the AI major labs today. They make it super easy for beginners. If you go to the OpenAI developer platform, you don't even need to write code to train a model. Isn't that crazy? Oh my God. That is so lower the barrier for entry-level beginners. So check that out. I trained a bunch of just like stupid models myself, just to play it out. I train models just to let the models speak like me. It's fun. It's fun to play with. And you also kind of know like what is the data format, what is the file format for you to train models, and also what are the different type of training techniques, and for different training techniques, what are the differences. I think OpenAI developer platform have very good documentation to help you understand that as well. If you don't understand it, what's the solution? Ask ChatGPT. And there is this link if you are curious about the recent studies and paper from AI. And shout out to this podcast. This podcast is my husband's previous manager's podcast, so support him. If you got a chance to comment on his podcast, please tell him that you come from JJ Never Sleeps. And also follow the major AI lab people on X and LinkedIn. You always get the first-hand information from these people. These people talk a lot, I know, on X. They always have updates. So pain in the ass, I don't have that much time on X, but just try to catch up on everything. And also, ChatGPT works amazing during doing research on companies. I always just like, especially when they're a startup. Oh, by the way, one more thing. When you're interviewing a startup, a trick that I found nobody talk about, but I found extremely helpful, is if that startup is like Series, let's say Series C, meaning that before Series D, right? Series D is like their later stage. They are more stable. They probably have thousands of people. Before Series D, Series A, B, C, or even seed round, if you're interested in that startup, that CEO have to take a lot of interviews to add exposure to their company. So just search their CEO's name on podcasts and you can find a bunch of interviews. And those are the CEO's top of mind. I found that so helpful when I was preparing for interviews. But regardless of that, you can also search ChatGPT. ChatGPT have more information to bigger companies than smaller ones. And if you're looking for review and resume, I have a GPT. And thanks to Rodrigo, did I pronounce your name right? Giving me a great feedback on the GPT. And the GPT can help you review resume, write cover letters, and for people who are like me working in big tech, give peer review on the evaluation and the annual review for your coworkers. That used to take me a lot of time, and now I can just complete all of those 30 people's evaluation within 20 minutes. About writing PRDs. First of all, I do have a free class on YouTube talking about AI product strategy and PRD. And because of my videos are so niche, I don't have a lot of views. So if you want to check them out, check them out. They're extremely helpful. And a lot of those students and my audience in those videos are interviewing Google and other companies as well. One of them got an offer from Salesforce. So it is very helpful for them, said by them, not me. And also they're free resources, so check them out. And here is a video that specifically talk about how to write PRDs. But I have two major things that I want to point it out. One thing is writing PRD shouldn't be your one-person job. A PRD is a thing, basically a written alignment between you and your cross-functional partners. So the earlier you involve your cross-functional partners, the better. So they know what you're talking about, give them enough context. And I also believe that PRDs should be as concise as possible because people's time is limited and nobody have time for such a long PRD. Unless your PRDs are just about edge cases, which in my case, it used to be like this. If I like working on LinkedIn data analytics products, the problem with like data analytics products is like there are a lot of edge cases. So for example, like I have 8,000 profile views in my Who View My Profile. You might have 10 per week. Some people might have 5 per week, right? Like those are the different edge cases that we have to think about. So unless that is the case, otherwise the PRD should be relatively short.
Yeah, JJ, just wanted to understand. So you got calls from a lot of big tech companies, starting from Google, Meta, as well as OpenAI and others. So was it majorly, how much of it was because of your LinkedIn profile, and how much of it was, reaching out to people who are working in the company, or reaching out to recruiters specifically?
Let me start here. As a product manager, if you want to land a product manager job, you have to have referral. Like that's first of all. So you have to know people in that company for sure. Um, and all of these people will come to your LinkedIn profile. Do you know how I know about that? That is like a amazing thing, amazing time for me to brag about my feature. So before I left the LinkedIn, I built this feature to see who are the recruiters view your profile. So you can see view on recruiters and see where they come from. Okay. So I do know, for example, after I applied for DeepMind, I remember I caught the DeepMind recruiter last week. Let's see. Oh, recruiter from Sierra. Maybe they're looking again. Yes, recruiter from DeepMind. So like after I applied for their job, the recruiter viewed my profile. I don't know what this Neuralink person is doing in my profile, but I do have a friend at Neuralink, and he said he is not a recruiter on LinkedIn. So I was like another reason why I built this feature is you can literally view jobs and see whether they have maybe they're want to hire me for a content creator. Who knows? So you can see whether they have interesting jobs that you might be a good fit for. So no matter what position you apply for or like through referral, usually through referral, they will come to your LinkedIn profile. And then you kind of like can guess why they reach out to you or not. Right. Some of the recruiters, they just saw my profile and they never reach out. Then I'll be thinking that, oh, which position did you check out my profile for and why you didn't reach out? Right? So you kind of know that what they're looking for and what you have, and know the mismatch there. I have someone saying my content is not boring. Thank you very much. Uh, I recently posted a content on YouTube. Now that you talk about this, a mock interview. You guys can search Google Glasses. I think it's the last 5 video that I post. I don't know why it is not as popular on YouTube as Red Note. On Red Note, I have thousands of likes on that video. That candidate is a really good candidate. Like I do mock interviews for so many people, and there are these type of people that I know, even Google doesn't want her, there will be another APM program want her. I have this feeling previously for another candidate 5 years ago, and he worked as a Uber APM, and now he is a Uber senior product manager now. So yeah, my feeling never went wrong, and I don't know where she is gonna end up with. Hopefully, Google, fingers crossed for her. But she is amazing, and her answer for whether Google should relaunch Google Glasses business is amazing. So you guys should check it out. If you want a good example of what is a good mock interview, that is it.